Okay, so I have started to kind of just now learn this, and maybe I'm late to the game, but I never paid too much attention because I always just focused on my personal finances, focused on what was going on in my household. But from us talking, Kirby, and from speaking to other people, I'm starting to vividly see how the media controls people's finances. I always knew the media pumped out fear. I always knew the media, you would see them post something and then the stock market would react. But I always still saw like some people detached. But now I'm starting to see like what we're looking at, right? What we discuss in the class, it's so clear where things are headed economically, financially. It's very clear. I mean, we're starting to see more layoffs. We are starting to see people not spending as much money, starting to see sales go down. And, there's a whole bunch of issues. And even with all that screams, there's harder times to come for companies, people still seem to be, you know, even though I have heard a little bit more people talking about, oh, they're trying to pay off their debt or trying to get their finances right, they're still like very detached, at least from what I've seen like at the workplace, is where our company is headed. There's a lot of questions as to like, are they going to start doing mass layoffs? And things are just so clear that point in that direction, especially with the new technology. I know it's not new, but with the advancements of AI, and there's a lot of people that are just kind of casually like just hoping, like, or not even hoping, but expecting they're just going to have their job in the future. And I don't see many jobs staying within companies in the future. But what are your thoughts on this whole thing that I just said?
Yeah, you said a mouthful. I was wondering, like, where's he going
Yeah.
with this? Well, yeah, the news, it's crazy. I mean, you can see it. It's a thing. People are not familiar with it, but it's called a WARN notice or a WARN Act. It's called the Worker Adjustment and Retaining Notification Act, and this is a federal law, not state, not county. It's a federal law that requires employers to provide written notice to employees before mass layoff or plant closing. The notice must be given at least 60 days in advance. So, the warn notice, if you go to your state, warn list, and it'll tell you if your company is planning on laying off people. I mean, different states, the federal government has the upper umbrella regulation, but states can adjust it to how they want to based on number of employees or how many days. They can't supersede or go higher or be more lenient than the federal government, but they can be more stricter with the notices. And so the information's out there, but people just don't know where to look. Most people get their news, at 8 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night, whatever time you watch the evening news. And then that is, that's their brainstem. That's what they see and hear. I mean, a lot of the layoffs that is being talked about is not on your, especially because we're in a election cycle, is not being talked about on especially the two main news media networks, CNN and Fox. They're not being talked about that a lot because we're in an election cycle and they want to push their narrative whichever way it should go. But for people in the public, the information is out there, but people fail to be informed. They don't want to be informed. They want to be blindly surprised at what's going on. I mean, with automation, with AI and things like that, a lot of jobs that do redundant tasks will be replaced. And I'm not even talking about AI. Damn AI. I don't care about that. But automation is the real threat to jobs. Automation is the real threat to jobs, especially office jobs that does redundant tasks over and over and over again. You can automate it. Trust me, I've been helping build automation system for companies to supersede their employees to lay people off. That's just the reality of it. Like, Alex, I've been talking to you about automation before it even came out on the mass news. That's just the reality of it. If you're in an office situation and you're doing a redundant task, you can be replaced. AI is just something that just that sounds cute. It looks good. It can put some words together. It can, do some super thinking. But only thing, if you're doing a redundant task and it's step by step by step what you have to do every time, automation can do that task without you being there. That is the biggest threat, not AI, to the workforce. So people that are sitting there in the office, maybe dispatchers or whatever. I mean, I don't know how the process worked for your company or what have you, but those things can be replaced. If it's a step-by-step process, it can be replaced. I mean, just look, they got machine fry cooks in the restaurants now because it's a step-by-step test. Do this, do this, do this, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7. You just program it to do those steps back to back to back. And I guess you only have to pay for that automation system one time, and it's there for a lifetime. But if you have an employee, you got to pay salary, you got to increase their wages, you got to pay health care, you got to pay 401k, you got to do all this other stuff. Give them days off, times off. With automation, you don't have to give times off at all. Like, I've literally been part of systems that run 24/7. Even when the workers are gone, the system is still running. So that's how companies can download or cut their workforce from 2,000 people down to 100 people. Because automation is the thing that's going to take out a lot of these, especially office jobs. But people being informed on what's going on and how it's to do. The information is out there. They just choose not to be informed. If it's not on mass media, then it's not news. That's affecting them. I forgot where else she was trying to go with that because you went on a long diatribe at the beginning. So what other points we was trying to tackle in
No, that
this?
was, I mean, that was the main point was just the media. People, they seem to only be reactive. So they listen to the
Right.
media and then they react to whatever the media is telling them rather than looking ahead and trying to come up with a plan. I mean, it's interesting because I was having the conversation yesterday, like in my entire adulthood, I've always had some sort of plan for the now and the future. Like I haven't been one to just like go about wandering life and then get hit over the head with something that came up and then, oh, how do I handle this? Like, no, it was like I have a plan. Okay, what are the issues that I might face on this path? Let me prepare for those. Let me set up defense, you know, mechanisms for those, and then proceed to reach my goals with those in place. I mean, people they seem to just be kind of controlled by what the media tells them, and there's no action being taken, no plan in place to prepare for something as serious as a recession or a job layoff or something like that. They just kind of hope and wish that it doesn't happen, and they're not paying attention to what's actually going on, being more realistic about the possibility of these things, of times getting hard. And then with knowing that, what is your plan to prepare for it? People don't think of that at all.
And the thing is I don't think people are not paying attention. They're paying attention. They're seeing it. But they believe that it's people smarter than them that will make their eyes believe they're not seeing what they're seeing. I mean, I've been part of teams that has laid off uh, hundreds, if not thousands, of people, and the people saw all the indicators that it was coming, but none of them prepared for what they was going to do when that time came. They was sitting there waiting for somebody to tell them for sure that it was going to happen. They see all the indicators, but they just believe it's smarter people out there that's supposed to tell them what's happening before they're supposed to react. Like me, Alex, my favorite line is always looking around the corner. Like, I always tell people, today I've already planned for this day weeks in advance. I'm just living out something that I planned right now weeks in advance. I'm already looking at next week, the week before, and what have you, planning for that. but people don't look past today. I mean, just look at their financial situation. Everybody live for today. You know, nobody lives for, hey, what if I get laid off? You know, people think as soon as they get a job, they're going to be in that job forever unless they quit. They don't think past it. They don't have the emergency fund set up. I believe a report just came out that 80% of the people don't even have $500 for an emergency. 80% of people in America don't have $500 for an emergency. So you just think of that. Let that marinate in your system for a minute. $500 for emergency. 80% of America. So people only live for today. They have they have the knowledge, they have the information. It's right there at their fingertips. People think that their cell phone is only to make phone calls and look at the next TikTok dance video. They don't look at the phone, the supercomputer that they have in their hand for information. Like I just spoke about the Warren Notice Act. It'll tell you if your company is laying off people, especially if you live in a big, I mean, if you have a big corporation. Like if you're in a place like Illinois, if you have over 75 full-time employees, you have to put out a Warren Notice if you're going to lay them off. So it's there. The information there, but people choose to be ignorant. They rather be surprised than be prepared. They want to blame other people for their situations instead of taking the onus on themselves to fix it. That's why I always talk to you and I talk to everybody in Discord about you do not let anybody dictate your life. Not a president, not a congressman, not a city councilman, not a mayor, not a boss. You want to be able to dictate your own life. If you can't dictate your own life, you're at the mercy of what everybody else decides.
That being said, guys, don't forget to like the video. If you have any comments or questions, let us know down below. Share this video, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.